Have you ever looked into your cat's eyes and wondered what they actually think you are? Not who you are, what you are. Because here's something strange. Your cat knows you're not a cat. You don't smell like one. You don't sound like one. You definitely don't move like one. And yet, they still rub against you, sleep next to you, follow you around the house, and sometimes look at you with a level of trust they don't give to anyone else. So if your cat doesn't see you as another cat, and doesn't see you as a human the way another person would, then what exactly are you? The answer is far more fascinating than most cat owners realize, and by the end of this video, one tiny thing your cat might be doing right now could suddenly have a completely different meaning. If you've ever lived with a cat, you've probably experienced this. You're sitting on the couch, your cat jumps up beside you. 5 minutes later, they're asleep next to your leg. The next day, they ignore you for 3 hours. Then somehow they're waiting outside the bathroom door like they've been assigned security duty. Cats can feel impossible to understand. One moment affectionate, the next completely mysterious. But here's the interesting part. Scientists who study cat behavior have spent years trying to decode these contradictions. And what they've discovered reveals something most people never consider. Cats don't build relationships the same way humans do. They're not constantly labeling everything around them. They aren't thinking, that's a cat, that's a dog, and that's a human. Instead, they seem to care much more about familiarity, safety, and social bonds. And once you understand that, a lot of their strange behavior starts making sense. The first clue is something your cat may have done today without you even noticing. They walk over, press their forehead against you, rub their cheek on your hand, then casually leave as if nothing happened. It seems simple, but in the cat world, it's actually a pretty big deal. Cats have scent glands around their cheeks, forehead, and face. When they rub against something, they leave behind chemical signals. They're essentially mixing their scent with the world around them. But here's what makes this behavior so interesting. Cats don't reserve it only for furniture or objects. They also do it with individuals they trust, including other cats, and including you. Researchers who study feline social behavior believe these scent-sharing behaviors help maintain social relationships and familiarity. In other words, your cat isn't just brushing past you, they're treating you as an important part of their environment, a familiar presence, someone who belongs. But that's only the beginning, because some cats display an even more surprising sign of trust, and it's a behavior that humans misunderstand all the time. Picture this, your cat walks into the room, looks at you, then suddenly flops onto the floor and exposes their belly. Most people instantly think the same thing. That means they want a belly rub. And sometimes they do, but often they don't, which explains why so many belly rub attempts end with teeth and claws appearing out of nowhere. The real message is usually much more interesting. A cat's abdomen contains some of their most vulnerable organs. In many situations, exposing that area means they're feeling relaxed enough to let their guard down. That's a powerful sign of trust. But here's the twist. Trust and permission aren't the same thing. Your cat can feel completely safe around you while still not wanting to be touched in that moment. And this tiny misunderstanding reveals something important about cats. They communicate comfort and boundaries at the same time. They're not being contradictory, they're being cats. And what happens next may be one of the most fascinating forms of communication in the entire animal kingdom. Because sometimes your cat can tell you they trust you without touching you at all. Imagine someone staring directly into your eyes without blinking. It's a little uncomfortable, right? Interestingly, many animals perceive prolonged staring as potentially threatening. Cats are no exception, which is why one of the friendliest things a cat can do is surprisingly subtle. They slowly close their eyes, pause, then open them again. What most people don't realize is that scientists have actually studied this behavior. In 2020, researchers from the University of Sussex and the University of Portsmouth found that cats were more likely to engage positively with humans who slow blinked at them. The study suggested that slow blinking may function as a form of positive communication between cats and people. Think about how remarkable that is. Your cat is voluntarily reducing visual awareness for a moment, a small act of vulnerability, a signal that they're relaxed, comfortable, at ease. And if you've ever slow blinked back and watched your cat respond, you may have been participating in a genuine social exchange without even realizing it. But as meaningful as slow blinking is, there's another behavior that's much harder to miss, especially when it follows you into every room of the house. You stand up, your cat stands up, you walk to the kitchen, your cat follows, you head to the bedroom, they're already there, and somehow they always appear outside the bathroom door as if they've been monitoring your movements all day. At first glance, it looks like curiosity, and sometimes it is. Cats are naturally observant animals, but researchers have discovered something deeper. In 2019, scientists at Oregon State University conducted a study that found many cats form secure attachment bonds with their caregivers. The findings surprised a lot of people because cats are often described as independent and emotionally distant. Yet the research suggested many cats use their humans as a source of comfort and security. Suddenly, that shadow following you through the house doesn't seem quite so random. Your cat may simply like knowing where you are. Your presence matters, and that leads us to perhaps the strongest clue of all, because some cats eventually begin treating humans in a way usually reserved for close social companions. Maybe your cat has licked your hand, maybe your arm, maybe your hair, or maybe they've attempted to groom you at the least convenient moment imaginable. As strange as it feels, this behavior carries an important message. Among cats, social grooming isn't just about cleanliness, it's also about relationships. Friendly cats sometimes groom one another in a behavior called allogrooming. Researchers believe it helps reinforce social bonds. So when your cat starts grooming you, something fascinating may be happening. They know you're not a cat. You don't groom them back properly. You don't communicate like a cat. You don't behave like a cat. And yet they've still included you in a social behavior associated with trust and affiliation. That's not confusion. That's acceptance. And this is where the entire story comes together. For years, people joked that cats simply think humans are giant cats. It's a funny idea, but the evidence paints a more interesting picture. Cat behavior experts like John Bradshaw have argued that cats almost certainly recognize that humans are different from other cats. The differences are obvious. Our size, our voices, our smell, our behavior. Cats notice all of that. What they seem to do instead is adapt their social behavior to fit this unusual relationship. In other words, your cat doesn't necessarily see you as a cat, but they do see you as someone important, a trusted social partner, a unique category all your own. And honestly, that's probably more meaningful because they arrived at that conclusion despite every difference between your species. So what should you do with this information? The answer is surprisingly simple. Pay attention to the quiet signals. Notice when your cat chooses to sit near you. Notice the slow blinks, the head bunts, the relaxed posture, the moments when they simply want to share the same space. And just as importantly, respect the moments when they don't. Cats often build trust gradually, not through constant attention, but through predictable, positive interactions. The more your cat feels safe around you, the more these subtle behaviors begin to appear, and once you start noticing them, you'll realize something. The strongest expressions of affection aren't always dramatic. Sometimes they're almost invisible. A blink, a gentle nudge, a tail held upright when they greet you, a decision to sleep nearby. Tiny actions, powerful meanings. Maybe that's what makes the bond between cats and humans so special. It's built on choice. Unlike many social animals, cats are under no obligation to spend time with you, yet every day they choose where to sit, who to approach, who to trust. And over again, many of them choose us, not because they think we're cats, not because they don't know the difference, but because we've become an important part of their world. So the next time your cat curls up beside you, follows you down the hallway, or greets you with a slow blink, remember, you're not just the person who fills the food bowl. You're not simply a warm place to sleep. And you're definitely not just a giant awkward cat. You're something much rarer. You're family in a language that doesn't need words. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments. What's the one thing your cat does that instantly makes you feel loved? And if you'd like more fascinating insights into animal behavior, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for the next one. Thanks for watching. And a special thank you from every cat who's ever pretended not to care while secretly keeping track of exactly where their favorite human was all day. If you look at your cat right now, you might notice a relaxed posture or a slow blink that quietly reflects the trust you've been hearing about this entire time. Meow.